What's good, fam? This your boy TR Zuriel. Yeah, y'all know how we do. Yeah, so I got this PDF from um from Dr. Robert Morse. I can't remember what video it was. I remember him talking about they had the study of everything. I guess I just looked up and found this particular video that had it on there or whatnot. I wouldn't say looked up, because I was at the right place at the right time. But white people are dying of, you know, this dis-ease. Let's see if they flag me for this, because they might flag me for this too. Ain't no telling. But these are the studies. All right. Pre-existing acute kidney impairment. It's a proposed theory based on past and present science. The mortality rate was significantly higher among patients with SARS and acute renal impairment compared with those with SARS and no renal impairment. 91.7% versus 8.8%. All right, renal tissues reveal predominantly acute tubular necrosis with no evidence of glomerular, I spelled that wrong, pathology. All right, so let's see. The 17/3/20 ISS report states the average age of people dying in Italy that tested positive with COVID-19 is 79.5 years old. The average age of infection is 63 years old, according to the Chinese CDC. Children are not affected at all by COVID-19. Children less than 10 years of age represent less than 1% of the people contaminated. Now, before I dive into this, now I know it's been some kids that have been dying recently of COVID, but I was looking at some of the studies in some of these cases of these kids, and these kids were, excuse me, they were overweight. I want to say they were fat. They were obese. They were overweight, and typically when you have a person that's overweight, you have a person that's going to have keno, I'm trying to say kidney and adrenal at the sound, my bad, kidney impairment, or lymphatic, we should say lymphatic stagnation, because, being overweight is not healthy. You're full of lymph and toxins, because it should flow through you. But, I know it was this one particular story I watched of this little boy. I think he was like 8 or 9, and they showed a picture of him holding his birthday cake, and I just shook my head because I was like, oh my gosh, it's all that dairy, that dairy that they gave that baby that have him jacked up. Because I think he had they say he had autism and stuff as well, and we know that's that's lymphatic stagnation. So the little ones, the babies, the younger ones, their bodies are highly compromised because of the sad diet, standard American diet. Okay, for those that don't understand, it's just been broken down to you. For those that still want to argue with it, hey, have at it. That's you. I ain't gonna sit here and argue with you. We just gonna read these stats. All right. Official ISS statistics, death occurrences over different age groups. 707 deaths between 70 to 79 years of age, 852 deaths between 80 to 89 years of age, 198 deaths over 90 years of age, 17 deaths under 50 years of age. Five of these were under 40 years old, all men aged between 31 and 39 with past serious pathologies. Aside from specific age, 99% of people who have died from this disease in Italy had one or more pre-existing pathologies. 48.5% had three or more of these pre-existing illnesses. 25.6 had two. 25.1 had one. 0.8%, or 3 cases in all, they had no pre-existing pathology or illnesses. The report listed 10 recurring pre-existing pathologies and 99% of all deaths. These 10 pathologies have all been scientifically documented by science to be directly linked to acute renal impairment, kidney impairment. Officially, 99% of all of this so-called disease of COVID deaths occur in people of average age of 79.5 years old with acute renal impairment. This is why the young are not affected, unless they compromise. That's my little add in. The 10 pre-existing pathologies listed by ISS 17. This was on March 17th, 2020, and their occurrence rate in COVID-19 deaths. Okay, most common diseases observed in patients with COVID in 2019. You had 33% of the people that had coronary heart, heart disease. 24.5% of people had irregular heartbeats. 9.6% had stroke. 76.1% of the people had high blood pressure or hypertension. 35.5% had diabetes. 6.8% had dementia. 13.2% had COPD. 20.3% had active cancer within the past 5 years. 3.1% chronic liver disease. 18% chronic renal failure. All right, number of pathologies, or the percentage wise of the people. Pretty much, this is the percentage of people in correlation to the underlying issues. People with no underlying issues, which it was a number of cases, was just 3. Y'all can look at the chart and look at the numbers they got, but I'm just gonna get percentages. 0.8 with one underlying issue, 25.1. With 2 underlying issues, 25.6. With 3 or more underlying issues, 48.5. Y'all see this? 48, almost 50% of the people that caught this disease that had something like, say, diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, which could all be linked to diet and acidosis. You get heart disease, you keep eating all those dead flesh and animals, smoking. Diabetes comes from acidosis. You having bad adrenals went down. And so, it's not just pancreas. No. It's adrenal related. And then what's the other one I want to go to? Hypertension, high blood pressure, which is another smoking, alcohol, and poor diet and stress. Okay, the 10 pre-existing pathologies listed directly linked with chronic kidney disease. Ischemic heart disease, atrial fibrillation, stroke, hypertension, diabetes, mellitus, dementia, COPD, cancer, chronic liver disease, chronic renal failure. Okay. A scientific paper published in 2005 in Kidney International, the official journal of the International Society of Nephrology, titled Acute Renal Impairment and Coronavirus Associated Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, stated. See what I'm saying, people? This was way back in 2005. So this is not something that's new. All right, the mortality rate was significantly higher among patients with SARS and acute renal impairment compared with those with SARS and no renal impairment, 91.7% versus 8.8%. Renal tissues reveal predominantly acute tubular necrosis with no evidence of glomerular pathology. That's what I said earlier. All right, let's see. Number of infections. This is based off of 2005. China had 81,000 infections, 3261 deaths. Y'all can read this. I give you some time to read this. I'm not going to read everything that's on this page. You can look it up And I don't know, maybe I could find a way to put the PDF, or if not, y'all could hit me up for the PDF. If you want the PDF, go to if I go to iamthunderrock.com and leave me a message at my website, iamthunderrock.com. 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 Leave me a message. I need to go check my messages at my website. But leave me a message, shoot the email or whatnot, be cordial so I know where to send it to, and I'll send you this PDF. Like I said, I got this PDF from the great Dr. Robert Morse. I remember him talking about this study in one of his videos I watched sometime last year, and I'm just fortunate that I was able to pick it up. All right, so let's see. United States had 26,000 SARS cases and only 348 deaths. I wonder what the death rate of that is. Probably ain't that much, because I'll say 10% would be 2,500. Another 10% that's probably about 250. That probably a little bit over 1%, maybe if my math is somewhat right. All right, so we're always what the page I'm on is always the top page. Just letting you know. All right, the activation, transcription, and reproduction of viruses. Why some people have no or mild symptoms while others may die. All right. What is a virus? Why do some people have no or mild symptoms while others may die? What is the connection between viruses like COVID-19, the lymphatic system, and the kidneys? Explaining the COVID-19 symptoms. All right, here we go. What is a virus? Viruses are genetic material, DNA or RNA, enveloped in a protein coat. I'm not going to even dive into what I want to say, because then they're going to try to ban me. It just don't seem right that a virus is a DNA or an RNA inside of a protein, because all viruses are protein. But it sounds like the same thing that people are putting in their bodies. It's an RNA inside of it's an RNA inside of a lipid, pretty much. That's what they're putting inside of people with some other stuff. But they are classified as non-living. They can only be activated once they are delivered into a living host, human, animal, or plant cell. Why do some people experience no or mild symptoms while others die? We are told this is due to our immune system. But what is our immune system? Our immune system is predominantly our lymphatic system. To what degree we are affected by bacterial or viral infections, including coronavirus or COVID-19, is due to how well our lymphatic system and kidneys function. The viral activation process, 3 essential steps for serious infection to occur. Viruses, including SARS and the current COVID-19, once inside our body, first bind to the spikes protruding from our cell membranes called glycoprotein spikes. The virus is then engulfed by the cell membrane during a process called, oh my gosh, here we go, Clathrin, I see you, sis. Clathrin-mediated endocytosis, whereby the virus is locked into a protective pocket called a vacuole or endosome, a large pocket found in almost all cells used to stock waste or toxic matter and reserves needed to the cell to maintain the composition of the internal cell. It's interesting, that's where it puts waste. Viruses require three distinct processes in order for the virus to become active, multiply, and create serious infection. If any one of these processes does not occur within the body, the virus remains dormant or asleep, producing no effects or symptoms. Step 1. Viruses enter our cells by binding onto antenna-like receptors that protrude out from the cell membrane. The bonding process results in the fusion of the viral and cell membranes, which allows the virus to pass into the cell. The viral material is instantly and effectively encapsulated, quarantined into an endosome as a protective measure by the cell. French professor of microbiology and world-renowned expert of infectious diseases, Dr. Didier Rouault, has been treating coronavirus patients successfully with chloroquine, which is well documented to inhibit viral entry. We cannot control this step. Basically, step one, you can't control it. Yeah, I got chloroquine, whatever that is. I got some of that in the cabinet. You can get the bark. It's a bark off of a tree, cochina. Is it cochina? Yeah, cause I got the actual bark up in my cabinet, and I got the a tincture that I bought. It's what's used to fight malaria, and it fights virals. You take that, and that's all I'm gonna say. Step two, the second step of virus activation is triggered by the influx of potassium ions passing through the M2 ion channels along the cell membrane. The change from a sodium to a potassium-rich environment is maturing endosomes. Decrease of pH of the environment within the endosomes, which triggers the uncoating of the viral core inside the cell and the importation of the viral RNA into the cell's nucleus, where replication and transcription take place, leading to infection. A change in the pH within the endosome releases viral RNA, which enters our cell's nuclei, where it becomes activated, replicating to create infection. We can't control this step either. Step three. Now, this depends on us. Once viral matter is dispatched throughout our body, it is up to the immune system, or specifically the lymphatic system, to combat the infection. Our lymphatic system consists of vascular systems, glands, and organs. It extends all throughout the body. It is connected to every cell via lymphatic vessels in the interstitial fluid, the liquid that surrounds each cell. Unlike the circulatory system, the lymphatic system does not transport blood and plasma. It transports lymph, a white fluid that carries our white blood cells throughout the body to areas of infection. It's like if the back of your ears stink, that's lets you know you got some lymph backed up, because you got lymph nodes behind your ears, and you got because the blood is what we call the kitchen, and the lymph is what we call the sewer system. So that's where all the trash and stuff is in the lymphatic system. Like how you get cysts, and cysts got all that nasty, you get the pus and all that other white looking crap like that. That's dead cells, and it smells. It's putrid smelling because it's dead cells in there. Okay, here we go. The role of the lymphatic system is to transport hormones, to absorb and transport fatty acids and fats from the digestive system essential for our cells, remove waste, unwanted proteins, toxins, and combat infectious matter. Our white blood cells are an essential part of our lymphatic system. They include lymphocytes, neutrophils, monocytes, and macrophages. Natural killer T cells, dendritic cells, platelets, and endothelial cells, etc. White blood cells are found in the lymphatic tissue, and blood. They are produced in the bone marrow, lymph node, and the thymus gland. They are an essential part of the immune system should a virus get past stage 1 and 2, as mentioned above. What is the connection between viruses like COVID-19, the lymphatic system, and the kidneys? In the article published in Kidney International, the official journal of International Society of Nephrology, we learned that not only that the mortality rate was significantly higher among patients with SARS and acute renal impairment compared with those with SARS and no renal impairment. 92, we'll just say 92%, 92% to around about 8%, or 91.7 versus 8.8. But that renal tissues reveal predominantly acute tubular necrosis with no evidence of glomerular pathology. This is vital as it is the kidney tubules that regulate our body's balance of water electrolytes throughout the body in the process called osmoregulation or osmoregulation. Yeah, I'm messing up words today. Y'all gotta forgive me. Kidney tubules selectively reabsorb filtered water and electrolytes to regulate body water and electrolyte balance. The tubules can reabsorb most of the filtrated water by 99% via urinary concentration mechanisms. The tubules also reabsorb sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium, and phosphate. What happens when water reabsorption is compromised? When the fluid surrounding the cells, the interstitial fluid, loses water due to kidney impairment, the water solute imbalance occurs, meaning there's a higher concentration of solutes outside the cell. To balance this situation, water fuses out of the cell. This dehydration of cell leaves the cell membrane thin and the cell deformed or shriveled. This reduces the capacity of the cell to make and stock energy, eliminate waste, and can result in cell and gene dysfunction. This cellular dehydration also causes congestion and stagnation of the lymph. When patients with acute kidney impairment become affected with COVID-19, they already have a chronically dehydrated and congested lymphatic system due to chronic kidney dysfunction. When this occurs, the immune lymphatic system is no longer able to transport the essential immune-fighting white cells to the affected areas, which allows the virus to propagate further. All cells produce acidic cellular waste, which is deposited in the interstitial fluid surrounding the cells. When these acids cannot be drained away from the cells due to interstitial congestion, the acids accumulate and irritate the outer skin of the organs. This acid accumulation lowers the fluid pH and causes an inflammatory response. As a protective response, the body increases the production of mucus to protect the tissue damaged by the acids. This interstitial acidosis greatly suppresses T cells mediated immunity required to fight the infection, greatly reducing the body's ability to defend itself. You see these pretty images? Okay, image of interstitial fluids, which is the blue, surrounding the cells. The little round things, we know what cells look like. I see you, sis. I see you, sis. I'm trying to move on so y'all won't be looking at who is this? Who is that? All right, explaining the COVID-19 symptoms. The official ISS report published on February, March. I'm blanking out, y'all. My brain. I'm on some brain and nerve. March 17th, 2020 stated that the most frequent symptoms experienced by the Italians that have died from COVID are 77% of the cases had fever, 74% of the cases had difficulty breathing, 42% of the cases had cough. Fever. The skin is the biggest elimination organ in the human body. It is also often considered to be the body's third kidney, as the skin plays an important, often vital role in the elimination of waste. If kidney function is impaired, a fever is a natural self-preserving elimination function of the body brought about to eliminate waste fast. The body temperature will rise, causing the pores in the skin to dilate as the body pushes waste toxins and, oh my gosh, and infections matters out the body by perspiration and evaporation. A fever should be accompanied, oh my gosh, she loaded me up. A fever should be accompanied, not stopped. By taking medication to stop the fever, the elimination process is halted and the waste accumulates further within the body. Difficulty breathing. As the lymphatic system is congested, acids and mucus accumulate in the interstitial fluids around the cells. This reduces optimal lung capacity, which leads to impaired breathing. A cough is a self-preserving natural mechanism of the body to clear out accumulating mucus from the congested lungs. Taking medications to stop the coughing process is not helpful for the elimination process. Coughing should be accompanied, not stopped. And look, here's all the sources. A confirmed official 99% of all deaths due to COVID-19 in Italy had all pre-existing diseases, which are all caused by kidney insufficiency. This is why children, young and old people with good kidney function are not affected by COVID. Treatment should involve kidney and lymphatic support. Sadly, these people are dying because of pre-existing kidney impairment, which is worsened by the COVID-19. And here we go. All the resources, y'all. It is a lot. Matter of fact, look, if y'all can catch some of them while I'm scrolling, I'll just say hit me up to get this document. One of many, you know. But there we go, y'all.